Section 7, Hillstarts, stopping and starting on a hill. There's only a few points on this one written on the old test sheets, but I'll tell you a little story. Some years ago in Tasmania, the government decided to write a new test with a pair of goons that wrote up some rubbish and literally knocked the hill start out of a driving test. There's no such thing as a hill start in a driving test, the government goons will tell you. The problem is there is a hill start in the driving test, because if they ask you to park halfway up a hill, you're going to have to take off without rolling back. So there is a hill start in a driving test, and of course you'd have to have a hill start in a bloody driving test. If you can't hold a car on a hill, there's something wrong with you. Okay, so the first section, failed to angle front wheels to curb when parked. Well, guess what? That's real. You've got to turn the wheels into the curb after you park a car. How many people don't do it? Here in Tasmania, Launceston's the hilliest town in Australia, and people don't turn the wheels into the curb. Only one or two. It's very dangerous. You must angle the wheels to curb when parked, because if the car rolls down and you forgot to put it in gear, whatever, and it kills someone, you go to jail. Okay, so after you stop, turn the wheels into the curb. Pull your handbrake on fully. Don't just rip the handbrake out a little bit and leave it. You must in order to do that, put it into neutral after you've stopped. Rip the handbrake out, and if it rolls back, then rip it out a bit more, and then finally put it into gear or into park, whichever you're using, automatic or manual. And the next section applies to manuals, of course. Poor coordination between clutch and brake when starting. You don't burn the clutch out, you don't do a rollback. You can do a rollback, and it's quite impressive. You can track up some blue smoke outside an old fart's house in a little Hyundai or something, which we've done many times over the years, but it's not really impressive for the driving instructor, the assessor, especially if it's their car too. So make sure you coordinate, and how you do that, you let the clutch out until you get your friction point. Then you throw your handbrake away, then you start releasing the clutch more. That's critical. Getting that friction point first. In first gear, start letting the clutch out, hold it there, throw the handbrake away, then start releasing the clutch. That is so critical. So many parents don't know how to teach that when they teach their kids to drive. Obviously, the result of not doing that properly is you would roll back when starting. You don't want to roll back when starting, because you might hit the car behind you if you park between two cars, which you should be, because that's the best way to prove you can drive, is to do a parallel park between two cars halfway up a hill. But the coordination between clutch and brake is a critical thing to learn. With an automatic, it's a little bit different. You put it into gear, you accelerate a little bit, then you throw the handbrake away, and that gear will catch it as before you move off. That's pretty important. Obviously, don't put it in park after you stop. You pull the handbrake on hard, then into park. Handbrake on first, off last. Always in that. Handbrake on first, off last in an automatic, and most cars are like that nowadays. So that's something critical to think about too. That's your Hillstarts.